Christopher Santiago with BloodyElbow.com, here today with the former UFC title challenger, Jessica Evil Eye, ahead of her BKFC debut this Saturday in Fort Worth, Texas. Jessica, how's it going today?
It's really good. It's really, it's nostalgic, you know, to be back here in Texas and getting ready for a fight.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit off camera about this being kind of like a full circle moment. Can you explain to me what that is?
Yeah, you know, it's crazy. So I had my UFC debut. What was that? UFC 113, maybe it was, and it was Junior Dos Santos versus Cain Velasquez, and it was here in Texas, in Houston, and that was in 2013. So here we are 12 years later, making my debut in BKFC here in Texas again. So it's nostalgic. It's cool.
And it's a massive card. You know, you have Andre Arlovski, the former heavyweight champion, joining you on this card, and it's first time ever BKFC is in Texas. What do you make of it?
I think I love that BKFC is already doing all this groundbreaking stuff. For them to come back to, you know, the Texas state, you know, or to come to the Texas state and be able to bring a platform for them to see fighting in another way, I just love it. I feel like this city has always been very involved in, you know, the events that come here. I mean, anyone, Dallas, Texas, Houston, San Antonio, everybody comes out. And I think a part of me too loves it when they cheer my names and they call me Jessica.
Yeah.
Let's go, Jessica.
What do you think the energy is going to be like on Saturday night? Because you've been at BKFC shows and they have a different energy than UFC. So I guess what are you expecting? You know, and everything's bigger in Texas as well. So yeah, I guess what are you expecting?
I've never been to the arena, so I feel like I'm expecting a really great showing. But it's like one of those things. It's like, don't shoot your expectation too high, you know. And I'm sure everybody kind of feels that way. But I feel like this is going to be a great event. I feel like we're going to sell it out. Everybody's going to be so excited to see Arlovski, see me, and all the other, you know, athletes that are on this card. There's a lot of good people on here. I think Soto's got a big fight too out of him, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then it's been like, what, 3 years since you last fought in the UFC. I was at your retirement fight. I guess, what kind of have you learned about yourself in this time away from the octagon?
So, you know, when I retired, I mean, it was July 2nd of 2022, and here we are just a week and a half shy of that 3-year full mark for me. So, gosh, it's crazy, right? There's so much to say. I don't know that we have enough time on your camera to tell all of it, but we'll explain a little bit. Is that, you know, when I retired from the UFC, I went through a series of health issues that I think that nobody really understood. They see me miss weight twice. They see me get knocked out by Valentina, and I just like, oh, Jessica's no good. Jessica's this. Jessica's that. And I think sometimes we forget that as fighters are still normal people dealing with normal life, you know, and dealing with things, and we're susceptible. So previously to that fight, you know, I lost my retirement fight. I lost my gallbladder. I got sepsis. I got E. coli. I had 2 canceled fights, and I was just dealing. Got my gallbladder removed, and the UFC was like, Jessica, what's going on with your health? They did the best that they could, but I decided to take matters into my own hands. But May of 2022, I passed the parasite that was this long.
Wow. That
I had contracted when I was in Singapore. So it started to mess with my mental health, my overall health, just everything. It started eating my organs. So we passed that parasite May 20th, 22, and then I had to have the fight. The UFC was putting the pressure on me. I had 2 canceled fights. Not really sure where I's at. You lost, you win, you know, and it can be very transactional. So I was like, all right, we're taking the fight. We're doing this. We're going against Maycee. Maycee's been, you know, a great friend of mine throughout the sport. We've always been really cool. It was more just a matter of like, hey, let's have respect, right? 2 athletes going to show themselves against each other. But I was so exhausted from the health issues. You know, I had missed weight, right? Had all those things that were like on my shoulders that when I got in the octagon, I just was like, I'm just tired. I'm exhausted. My body is still not recovered from, you know, the parasite being extracted. That, you know, I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna end up getting my my leaving papers if I don't win this, I'm doing it right here. I'm retiring. I'm retiring in the octagon where I started. I want to have that choice. So
you know, not everybody does too, and you know, to have that retirement fight in front of a crowd, that's amazing, right?
Yeah, and that wasn't the intent going into the fight, right? Like everybody, when people started seeing me mess with my gloves, all the people that like loved me, they were like, she's done. She's, you know, that was it. And it was my opportunity at least to say that, but I was never really fully done. But I needed to go get healthy. I needed to go rebuild my body, rebuild my mind. And you know, you think, you know, when you retire, you're like, oh, life is going to be peachy, I got all these great things. I went into the most serious depression. I got in tons of trouble with the law. I found the worst version of myself. But I also found myself in that time. So after some of that time, that year after in 2022, around 2023, I really started focusing on my mental health, rebuilding my body, right? Decided to make the move to Florida, focus just on me, focus on everything that would make me physically better, me living my authentic self. No fight teams, nobody. Moved away from my friends, everything I knew, and I moved down to Fort Lauderdale with my 2 little doggies and just continued to build my mental health, find myself, and I ended up meeting 2 really amazing coaches, a gentleman named Zeke and a gentleman named Zach, that have spent the last year with me rebuilding my body, re-inspiring me. But it was like, I'm not done, you know, like I'm not necessarily done, but I was like, what am I going to do? The UFC is, you know, never going to take me back. And to be very honest, I want to get kicked again. I don't want to wrestle again. Yeah. Like boxing is where I originally started. I had 5 boxing matches before I ever even had my first MMA amateur fight. So started training again. I'd been dabbling with training, and then full transparency, I was still dealing with the mental health, but I had been practicing and using psilocybin for depression, and I know that there's been a lot of studies behind it and had someone helping me with it. Prayed to God over a small dose, and I said, God, I'm so lost right now. I don't know who I truly am. You know, I gotten real estate license, gotten my life insurance license, did all these adult things, you know, and it just still wasn't feeling like myself. And I prayed to God, and later that day, Julian, my manager, gave me a call and he said, Jessica, BKFC's interested. What would it take to get you, you know, in their ring? And I was like, I don't know, let me think about it. But I was so overwhelmed. I'm getting chills just even thinking about it. I was so overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, like, there's a place for me. And I could do this. Like, why not BKFC, right? Like, I've been headbutted in the forehead and had 17 stitches across my forehead. Like, you know, I can do this. I can absolutely. And BKFC rolled out a really amazing plan for me, you know, potentially. Like, after we get past this first one, we'll see where we go next. But it kind of all came full circle. It's like, kind of hit rock bottom, found myself, and rose myself back up to this part where, you know, peaks and valleys are always going to happen in life. But I'm more equipped to deal with them. And I think that goes in with me when I go into the fight. I'm able to make better decisions. I'm able to be more conscious. But I've also been able to take better care of my overall body. So, you know, right here we are, less than 5 pounds away from our weight, which would have never happened on a Wednesday throughout any of my UFC career, even my, you know, amateur and young pro career, that I really thought I could put it all together.
Yeah, so this is like a new Jessica. You feel like rejuvenated.
Yeah, you'll hate when we say it, because I think all of us fighters kind of do that. Every fight we go in and we're like, this is the best ever of me. I'm so great from the last one. And you know, people ask you throughout your camp, are you doing okay? Like, is everything all right? I really was. I was all right. And as crazy as this sounds, I was more alone with just myself than I was. I have a great best friend. I have a great group of people that, I mean, they're all here. They came down for the fight. They checked on me. But it was a matter of, did you really want it, Jess? How bad do you really want to make this happen? How bad do you really want to win, right? Because this win isn't for, you know, obviously the pay's nice, right? Every time you win, you get that paycheck, right? You get the dollars, right? You get the accolades, you get the crowd love. This one is really for me. Like, it genuinely is. Like, it's everything has been 100% for me this time.
I guess that goes into my next question. I guess, what are you fighting for at this stage of your career? Is it to get a world title? Is it to make some more money and to fund whatever else you want? Like, what are you fighting for right now?
Right now, I'm fighting for just me. To show myself that no matter what, you never give up on yourself. During some of those darkest moments, I mean, intrusive thoughts almost broke me, you know? And I feel like sometimes you can be such a strong person, you get so strong in those negative thoughts, you totter with danger, you know? And I was so close to that. For me to be where I am right now, I'm like, I can do anything. I literally almost gave up on myself. I can do anything. I can literally do anything I put my mind to, and I've proven it. Between the nutrition, building a new coaching staff, moving away from all the people I love with just my dogs, waking up every day not having anybody to talk to, that I'm doing this for me, like truly, and you know what comes of it will be what was God's plan or what was supposed to happen for me. So no, I don't want to redo a UFC career. You can't do that. That's too many years of work. I just want to start where I am from now and build from here, right? Whether that's another BKFC fight, whether that's a BKFC world title, you know what I mean? Which would be beautiful, you know. We'll see, you know. It's like, let's stay in the now, right? Let's like get this win under our record and move forward.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what a BKFC title means, but I think you're kind of fully focused on the task at hand and Mariya Agapova. I guess, can you talk to me about what she presents in terms of challenges, and what do you make of her as an opponent?
Well, I really appreciate you saying her name right, because it took me the longest time. She's a UFC veteran herself, right? Like a woman that's been through so much, right? Fighting for herself, fighting for, you know, a paycheck to feed herself. So I see her as myself, you know, somebody who feels like their back's always been up against a wall and they've always had to fight their way out. So I respect her. I respect every girl I always going up against, and it's nothing against her. You are just the object of my aggression. You're just an object of what it is that I want, and I have to destroy you to get out of my way, you know, to get to my next step. And, you know, I'm assuming she trained hard. I know and we're both in the sunshine of Florida, so I know she must be soaking that good energy from that up. So, you know, and plus she's fighting Jessica Eye, top 10 contender, and
former top,
right, 135.
35 wins.
Yeah, right. I mean, I had multiple fights of fighting a weight class up. You know, got close to the bantamweight title at one point. Then to be here, right? So, you know, she's valued so high that she would be considered a contender against me. You know, and I look at her. She's a left-handed fighter, right? She's very long. She's fought, you know, girls in the UFC that are very well known. I expect the best version of her, you know, and respect, girl. I appreciate you coming and showing down with us.
Awesome. A few more questions. What's going to be your walkout song this time around?
Oh my gosh. So usually I'm really good about picking my walkout song, because usually there's something in the camp that like inspired it, right? Like I remember I walked out to Don Henley Dirty Laundry once because I felt like the media, in my earlier years in the UFC, when I tested positive for marijuana, they were like destroying me, like you're a liar, you're this, and I was like, man, you guys just love to air dirty laundry, right? And I wanted to give them something, right? And then there was Led Zeppelin, you know, I came out to Running with the Devil by Van Halen, and Billie Eilish, You Should See Me in a Crown,
nice.
right?
Yeah, I like some Billie.
Then what was it, Notorious B.I.G., Ready to Die, you know? So I've always kind of been all over the place. I didn't pick my fight song until this morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you going to keep it a secret until Saturday?
No, I'll tell you. I'll tell you, because it's so good. But I'm coming out to Korn, Coming Undone.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Some old school Korn.
Nice. What did you make of Conor McGregor? Like he called you like I think he was complimenting your like your massive arms.
Muscular monstrosity. You know what's crazy is to think back, like that's so many months ago. You know, just be excited to see what I'm going to be called now. Like what do you top that? An extra muscular monstrosity. But it was cool, and it was nice because Conor's seen me, you know, throughout all of my career. You know, I fought on multiple Conor cards, you know, in Abu Dhabi. I'm pretty sure I fought on his last UFC card that was in Vegas right when we came out of COVID. Can't remember.
Yeah, against Ryan Wood, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on multiple cards with him. I mean, even back to I was in the Boston crowd, literally sitting right next to when he jumped out of Aldo to get him. So it was really awesome. It's nice to see someone who you have been in the industry with for a while, but hasn't seen you. And I did. I kind of did. I wasn't on social media. I stayed away from everything for me to kind of blossom back onto the scene and to get such a great compliment from Conor McGregor. You know, the world loves him. So when someone the world loves compliments you, the little bit of love comes to me, and that energy felt really good. So it was cool.
Yeah.
Because I'm obese, man. I worked really hard on this. You know? This wasn't easy. Like I built this, so I'm pretty proud of it.
Mm-hmm. I believe you said that you wanted to be a pro wrestler after you retired. Was that correct?
Yeah, well, I wanted to try it, right? Like I had done a couple tryouts. I had worked with Brian Kendrick a couple times and did some stuff with him. You know what's crazy is I really did want to. I feel like I told you that depression was really hard for me for a minute, right? Like I didn't work out, I didn't want to do anything with sports, I didn't do anything in the gym, I walked completely away from everything. And that was a part of it, right? Like anything that had to do with physical fitness, I was like, I don't want anything to do with it. I'm like, if it's working out, I don't want to do it. If you want to go hang out by a pool or get a cocktail or do something like that.
Social stuff becomes kind of scary.
Yeah, but it was, I wanted to do that over being in the gym or doing that because I felt like I thought that's what I want. I thought that I wanted to, I didn't need that anymore.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, the WWE, you know, it would be cool. You know, maybe they'll bring me, you know, along one time. I got some good moves I could show them, but you know, there's so many other platforms and so many other things. Maybe I'm just not done being this kind of athlete, right? They're athletes. Like, people don't understand how much pro wrestling goes through, but, you know, we'll see. You know, I think that maybe my time away was meant for me to heal. That combat's just not done. Yeah. I mean, I don't feel old, you know, I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm done now, you know, so.
Yeah, and I guess Ben Rothwell, when I asked him about that, because he wants like a WWE kind of feel to his fights and his walkouts. I guess as you progress in your BKFC, do you want that? Do you want like more cooler walkouts? Do you kind of appreciate the showmanship out of it?
Yeah, you know, it's really funny. I've always had this dream, right? Always had this dream I was going to ride a motorcycle down to the ring, like the Undertaker, and just rolling down on my Harley, just like kicking it, just like getting off, like, all right, evil eyes here. So like the Undertaker would be like my vibes, like he's totally the vibe I would want to go with.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all the questions I had for you, Jessica. I just want to thank you again for the time, especially during this busy fight week. Is there a message that you would like to send to the fans of Jessica Evil Eye?
You know, to the fans that stayed beside me this whole time, I genuinely appreciate you. Without you guys, this wouldn't be as fun to come back and do. Thank you for supporting me. All those people that stayed following me when I was super depressed and just really going through it, you are incredible. And I want everybody in the world to know that you can get through anything and stay, what's the one saying? Tough times don't last, but
people do?
Tough people
Tough
do.
people do.
Right.
I think it's a Chael Sonnen quote, I think.
Yeah, it's Chael, but I think a wrestler did it.
Yeah.
Somebody did so. Well, I'll take it from you. So tough times don't last, but tough people do.